Hi, everyone, and welcome to English for You. I'm Pat.
And I'm Elsie.
And today we're going to be finding out how a city in the US used one animal to deal with another animal problem. But before we get into that, Elsie, do you prefer cats or dogs?
I prefer cats because I have a cat.
Okay. Yeah, me too. I would say I'm definitely a cat person. I grew up with cats. My parents almost always had a couple of cats in the house. So although my grandma's had dogs and I didn't mind visiting them, I think I prefer cats to live with. But how do you feel about rats?
Rats?
Mm-hmm.
I don't like them one bit.
Mm.
I think they look disgusting. But I know this is not fair to rats, but I really don't like them.
I'm okay with rats. They don't scare me as much as I think they scare other people. I'm not going to go and pick them up on the street, but if I see them, I'm not going to sort of scream and jump on top of a car and wait for somebody to come and chase it away.
Uh-huh.
But it was a rat problem that happens in this city, and it was cats that fixed it. But how? Let's read through today's article and find out.
Reading.
Cats play and keep the rats away. Rats are a big problem on Chicago city streets. They spread disease and they damage property. However, a new program that is called Cats at Work uses feral cats to help fix the problem. Someone noticed that when cats are around, the rats disappear. It was this finding that gave people the idea for the program. Feral cats are too wild to be pets, so they can't live indoors. They can live outdoors if they have food, though. If someone agrees to feed them, they can get 2 or 3 cats to live in their neighborhood. These cats are sterilized and vaccinated. When cats live in an area, the rats soon disappear because they're afraid of the cats. This program helps with 2 big problems. First, it helps people keep rats away. Second, it helps feral cats that have no home and would be otherwise euthanized. So, it's a win-win situation. It is also a green solution because it doesn't use poison to kill the rats, which would be bad for the environment.
So our article begins by getting straight into the problem. It says rats are a big problem on Chicago's city streets. So Chicago, obviously a big city in the US, up in the northern part. And yeah, like any big city, they are going to get rats. Wherever you find big groups of people, you do find big groups of rats too.
没错，有人的地方就会有老鼠，也会有 cockroaches， 也会有蟑螂这些东西。那我们今天的课文呢，一开头就告诉我们，在芝加哥的街头啊，老鼠是一个大问题。And then the article says they spread disease and they damage property. Spread disease 代表的是散播疾病，动词用到的是 spread 这个字哦。那除了散播疾病之外，他们还会做什么事呢？ They damage property. What does this word mean, Pat?
Well, generally, the word property just means something that belongs to a person. They bought it, they own it, or it was given to them. It is theirs. It doesn't belong to somebody else. It's not something that's shared like a library book or anything like that. We can also use property more kind of narrowly as a definition, just to mean someone's house, okay, or just a house somewhere. If you are looking at moving house, you'd say there are 3 different properties we want to take a look at. It means the house and the area around it. So when we're talking about the more general meaning, we could say students can put their property in desks in their homerooms and the desks can be locked, okay? And as a more kind of specific definition of a house, it's I bought a new property in central Taiwan. That would mean a house and the garden around it.
OK， 所以呢 ，property 可以指的是所有物、财产或是资产，那它会是一个不可数的名词，像是 personal property， 那就是你个人的资产。那 property 呢，也可以特指房屋哦。刚 Pat 有提到，那它指房屋的时候啊，可以当可数名词或是不可数名词都是可以的。So for example, he owns a number of properties in Vietnam， 代表他在越南拥有数栋的房产。Okay, so back to the article. Rats damage property in Chicago too. 他们也会破坏房屋。
Okay, so that's a problem, but there is an answer. The article says, however, a new program that is called Cats at Work uses feral cats to help fix the problem. So this word feral means that it's describing an animal, and it's describing an animal that is wild. It's not looked after by people, even though it may live around them. We could also talk about stray cats and dogs. A feral animal is going to hunt for its own food, and it may attack humans as well. It's kind of wild, uncontrolled. Often it's just born on the streets and grown up that way.
Feral 这个形容词呢，代表恢复野生习性的或是野生的，所以呢，我们在街上看到的野猫，我们可以说 feral cats， 用 feral 来形容它们，或者是呢，你要说流浪猫也可以，那我们可以说 stray cats。stray cats。那有一个新的计划叫做 Cats at Work， 它呢是用野猫来帮忙解决老鼠的问题。
Right, so they came up with the idea because people sort of figured things out, and it's kind of common sense. As the article points out, someone noticed that when cats are around, the rats disappear. Now this,
of course, right?
Right. Now, this doesn't mean the cats are eating every single rat. That's kind of a big task for the cats. But it's obvious that these two animals aren't just going to live around each other in a friendly way.
所以呢，有人就注意到了，当猫在的时候，老鼠就不见了 because they're scared of cats, right? And then the article says it was this finding that gave people the idea for the program. 那就到了我们今天的 language in focus， 我们要看到的是 it is， 或者是过去式 it was， 再加上 that 分裂强调句。那如果呢，我们要强调句子中某个特定的部分，我们可以用这样的句型哦。那要强调的部分呢，我们就放在 be 动词之后 that 之前，再将其余的部分都放到 that 之后。那在这样的句型当中啊 it 它属于的是虚主词，本身是不具任何意思的。那 be 动词呢，则是要随原句来改变时态哦。那被强调的部分啊，可以是主词、受词、补语、时间，或是地点也可以。像是课文里面的 It was this finding that gave people the idea for the program， 它的原句是 This finding gave people the idea for the program。 然后呢，我们要强调主词，所以我们就把 This finding 这项发现移到 be 动词之后 that 之前。那再给同学们一个例句哦。For example, the bus hit my neighbor on this road. 如果我要强调受词的话，我可以说 It was my neighbor that the bus hit on this road. 代表是我的邻居在这条路上被公车撞到的。那再来咯，如果我们要强调时间的话，也可以用这样的分略句，像是 We met each other 10 years ago at the party. 我们也可以说 It was 10 years ago that we met each other at the party. 那就是10年前我们在派对上认识彼此的。Okay, so back to the article. What does it say?
Well, we kind of explain why the cats work, even though it's fairly clear, I think, from the context. But it says, feral cats are too wild to be pets, so they can't live indoors. So these feral cats, it's a bit different from a cat that maybe was a pet and then went on the streets. You can kind of bring them back into a home and look after them. But a feral cat that's grown up on the streets, that's really hard to kind of turn it into a pet again. they can't live indoors. And indoors is an adverb, so it's going to modify a verb or an adjective, and it just means inside. Whatever activity, whatever verb we're describing is inside. For example, it's raining today, so my brother and I have to play indoors. So here, indoors is modifying play. It's an adverb. If we want to use it as an adjective, we just say indoor. There's no S. So you could talk about an indoor play center, which means all the stuff is inside. An indoor sport like badminton is played inside. Or we could say we have to play badminton indoors.
Indoors 这个副词呢，代表在室内，所以我们说它们不适合当宠物的原因，是因为它们不能住在室内 ，They can't live indoors。那这个副词呢，如果你把字尾的 s 拿掉，你会看到 indoor， 那就变成一个形容词咯，代表室内的，所以像是 indoor activities， 那就是在室内从事的活动，像是 play board games 玩桌游啊等等之类的活动。
Right, so we can't bring the cats inside, but as the article points out, they can live outdoors if they have food, though. So we just talked about indoors. Here's basically the opposite word, outdoors. Again, it's an adverb, so we're modifying a verb or an adjective. Whatever's going on happens outside, not in a building, but out under the sky. For example, some people would like to work outdoors in the fresh air. Other people want to stay indoors. And again, the adjective form has no S. Outdoor, so outdoor activities, outdoor seating at a restaurant means you're outside instead of inside, and so on.
Indoors 的相反就是 outdoors， 所以你会发现这两个相反字，你只要改它的字首，从 in 改成 out 就可以了。那 outdoors 这个副词呢，就代表在室外，在野外。那如果你把字尾的 s 拿掉，你会看到 outdoor 这个形容词。那我们也可以用来形容 activities， 形容活动。所以 outdoor activities 就会是室外、户外活动，像是 you go hiking、you go camping、you go fishing， 这些都是 outdoor activities。所以课文说到啊，不过呢，如果野猫有食物吃，它们也是可以住在外面的。
Right, so sometimes these cats will find their own food, but to really make them stay and kind of help with this program, someone needs to maybe leave a little bit of food out for them, once a day, something like that. And we see how this works in the next part of the article. It says, if someone agrees to feed them, they can get 2 or 3 cats to live in their neighborhood. So this is part of the deal. A person would maybe sign up, go to a website or go and see the officials of the city and say, hey, I live here. I don't mind leaving a bit of food out, some meat or cat food or something. Can you move some of these feral, these wild cats into my neighborhood? And of course, a neighborhood is a particular area of a town or a city. It's not quite as big as, say, the whole of like Da'an or Zhongshan district in Taipei. A neighborhood just could be a small collection of streets, of a number of different buildings, anything within kind of a short walk, 5 or 10 minutes, just in and around an area. For example, my neighborhood is around Xingtian Temple, that kind of area. I'm within a few streets of that. We could also say, there are some nice parks in this neighborhood, so I like living here.
Neighborhood 代表就是地区、街区，或是说的更精准，就是你居住的邻近区域。那如果你把字尾的 HOOD 拿掉的话，你会看到 neighbor 邻居，所以我们可以说 neighborhood 就是你邻居居住的邻近区域。那课文说呢，如果有人同意喂食的话，那他们居住的邻近区域就可以住2到3只猫 ，and they can help solve the problem there.
That's right, but it's not just as simple as giving the cats food. You have to do something more to the cats to sort of make sure that everything is okay, no one gets any extra problems. Because, of course, a wild or feral cat can cause its own kind of problems too. So let's see what this program does to help with that. We see these cats are sterilized and vaccinated. So we've got two kind of sciencey words here to look at here. First is sterilize. If an animal is sterilized, and we generally use this about an animal, it means it has a small operation done to it to make sure it can't have babies. Now, a lot of people will get this done when they get a pet cat or a dog when it's quite young, because they don't want that pet to have babies. They think it's going to be too difficult to look after them. They don't want outside cats to keep making them pregnant and so on. So yeah, to sterilize the cat, you just make sure it's not going to have any babies. And this is really important for cats that live outside on the streets.
没错，野猫呢，很重要的就是你要帮它们做绝育的手术，所以做绝育的手术会一点点做结扎也可以哈，可以这样说。我们的英文呢用的是 sterilize。那再来呢，我们还看到一个字是 vaccinated。
Yeah, now this is a word that everybody is kind of thinking about in Taiwan in recent times, getting vaccinated, which means to get a vaccine, which means that a doctor or nurse will give you either a really weak kind of a disease or something else that'll help your body fight off that disease. You get loads of vaccinations, which is the noun, or vaccines, when you are young to protect you against a bunch of diseases. And that's the same idea here. We get the cats, we give them an injection, and that means the cats won't get certain diseases when they grow up, which keeps them healthy, keeps cats around them healthy, and often keeps humans healthy too, because there are some diseases from cats that humans might be able to catch.
没错，所以我们除了要为这些野猫做绝育手术之外呢，还要 vaccinate them。这个动词呢，代表的是给某个人或是某个动物接种疫苗。那你看哦，在我们的课文里面，我们都是用被动，因为我们的主词是 these cats， 所以你会看到 be 动词 are 再加上 sterilized 这个过去分词，还有 vaccinated。这个过去分词，那所以呢，课文说到的是这些野猫啊，它都已经被绝育了，然后呢，也接种过疫苗。
Okay, so the next sentence in the article really does explain why this Cats at Work program actually works. It says when cats live in an area, the rats soon disappear because, as Elsie said earlier, they're afraid of the cats. They just kind of run off.And don't want to hang around there anymore.
没错，有猫居住的地区呢，老鼠很快就不见了，因为老鼠怕猫嘛，所以猫在，它们应该就不想要在那里出现。那接下来呢，课文说到 ，This program helps with two big problems. What are they?
Well, one of them is obviously the one we started with, the rat problem. The article says, first, it helps people keep rats away. If you're keeping something away, you're doing something to make sure whatever it is doesn't come near you. You could say, I want to keep something away, maybe bugs, rats, cockroaches. We often use it for small, nasty animals and insects.Or you could say, I wear a mask to keep germs away, that kind of thing.
所以 to keep somebody or something away 代表就是使点点点远离的意思。像是呢，我们可以说 I always put on bug spray to keep mosquitoes away 代表呢，我总是会用防蚊液让蚊子远离。那课文说啊，这个计划是要让老鼠远离人们。
Okay, so that's the first problem. What about the second? The article says, second, it helps feral cats that have no home and would be otherwise euthanized. Euthanize is another one of those sciencey words like sterilize and vaccinate, but it's a little more serious. To euthanize something means to kill it, basically, by medical means. So we're not talking about somebody like kind of shooting or poisoning the cats. We're talking about giving them an injection of something that will kill them, finding a hopefully kind way. It's a way that the animals don't suffer, but it's basically saying we have to kill these cats because otherwise they're going to cause too much of a problem. It often happens to, sadly, animals in animal shelters that can't find a home and the shelter can't look after them. They just have to find a way to put these animals down in a kind way.
是的，如果呢野猫太多，那动物收容所也没有办法收容它们的时候，就会将它们做安乐死， 那这个第二步就是这个计划呢，可以帮助野猫找到一个家，不然它们就会被安乐死。
Yeah, if they can't find a home, that's the only other option for the city. But here is this option. Cats can work instead of finding a home. And we say, so it's a win-win situation. Basically, a situation is any kind of set of circumstances. It's all the details of a time and a place and what's happening in that time and place, whatever this person is in. So here the situation basically means the whole problem and the answer to it. This rats in Chicago, cats in Chicago that are wild, using the cats to fix the rats. That is the whole situation. And we describe it as a win-win situation because every way you look at it, it's good. It solves one problem, it solves another problem. There's no downside. There's no one losing here. Here's another example of how we can say it. Our company is in a bad situation because we can't afford to pay all of the staff.
Situation 这个名词呢，代表情况、形式。那我们看到课文说 "It's a win-win situation." Win 什么意思 ？Win 就是赢嘛。那现在有两个 win， 所以代表双赢。所以呢，我们说到的是这是个双赢的局面，对野猫也好，对这个人类也好。
Okay, we also see in the article there's another benefit. It is also a green solution because it doesn't use poison to kill the rats, which would be bad for the environment. So yeah, poisoning the rats is one way to kill them, but poison, it could kill other animals, it could affect humans, affect plants, get into the water. There's a lot of reasons why just putting poison down is not such a great idea for the planet, for the Earth. So saying it's a green solution means it's an environmentally friendly one. And a solution is just the answer to a problem. It could be, what's the solution to a math problem? Oh, A equals 5. But it's any problem. If you found an answer, you found a way to solve that problem and make it not a problem anymore, you have found the solution. Solve is just the verb form. So we could say, it's impossible for all of us to live together. The only solution is for one of us to move out.
Solution 这个名词代表解决办法。那我们要找出问题解决的办法 We have to find out a solution to a problem. A solution to a problem 介系词要用的是 to 不是 of 要特别注意哦。好，那再来呢，如果要用动词形式的话，我们可以用 solve S-O-L-V-E to solve a problem. 那我们课文说到的 a green solution 不是绿色的解决办法，是环保的解决办法。所以呢，为什么说这也是个环保的解决办法？因为不用到任何的 poison 毒药来杀老鼠，不然这样子的话还会对环境造成伤害。
Okay, so there we go. We've got the problem, but Chicago came up with a great green win-win solution. So that's the end of this article, which means we're now going to go to today's For You Chat question.
For You Chat.
So today's question relates to these cats in Chicago and asks, do you know any other animals that have jobs? What are they?
So I think dogs can do a lot. There are guide dogs that can help the blind, and there are shepherd dogs, right, that can guide sheep to graze.
That's right. I'm going to give jobs for rats. Rats don't only cause problems. In some parts of the world where there are kind of like bombs under the earth that are left over from wars, rats can be trained to smell them. And they run around smelling out the bombs so that people can dig them up and deal with them safely. So, yeah, rats can be put to work in that way.
Wow, I didn't know they're useful too.
Yeah. I think there might be indeed something in this in the rest of the magazine, either this month, maybe next month, bit of a sneak preview there, about how rats can actually be good and helpful. So we'll leave you to find out more about that by reading our magazines. But that's all we have time for today. Thanks for watching, everyone. For English for You, I'm Pat.
I'm Elsie.
And we'll talk to you again soon. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Vocabulary Review.
Property. The big earthquake damaged property and killed several people. Indoors. I had to have my party indoors because it was raining. Outdoors. Danny's job is taking care of gardens, so he spends most of his time outdoors. Neighborhood. Alice's school is in the same neighborhood as her home, so she walks to school. Situation. My parents often fight with each other, so it's a difficult situation at home. Solution. We all shared our ideas and came up with a solution to the problem.
智慧小补帖
Feral. Sterilize. Vaccinate. Euthanize.
以上节目是由活用空中美语制作，活用空中美语杂志，请洽询全国各大书店。如欲索取试听教材，请来电02-2364-4000 02-2364-4000，或上网查询，网址是 www.english4u.net www.english4u.net